Hello friends, this is the 9th lecture on Archetypes of Literature by Frye. What are we trying to do is, we are trying to find out recurring patterns in literature, what we call archetypes. And these archetypes very cleverly systematized by Frye. The kinds of literature and kinds of myths, they are linked or connected to the solar cycle of the day, the seasonal cycle of the year, and also the organic cycle of the human beings. So it's a network, you can say. It's a kind of network, a new network that has been produced by or presented before us by Frye. In the first one we saw dawn, spring and birth phase, that is connected to romance, dithyramb and rhapsody poetry, and there you have got myths of revival and resurrection. Then second we saw noon, that is zenith, noon, that is the highest point in acme, we can say, the climax, then the summer season and marriage or the triumph phase and entering into paradise. Now this we saw, it is one after another, you can say, solar cycle of the day, then seasonal cycle of the year, summer, and marriage is organic cycle of humans, connected to comedy, pastoral and ideal. And today we are going to see the third section of this. First two sections we have already covered, and you can see that solar cycle of the day, sunset, season, autumn, and the organic cycle, death phase. And the kinds of literature connected to this is tragedy and the elegy, because both are sad, no? Yes. Then myths of fall. We have got myths of fall, and we have got violent death, myths of violent death, sacrifice. And then we have harvest, after harvest, how the gods are thrown into the river, that we have seen. So these are the, what is connected, what is linked is, the kinds of literature that is linked is tragedy and elegy. And you find that the subordinate characters, you find traitor and siren, they are the subordinate characters. And here myths of fall of the hero, and also we find the isolation of the hero, violent death of the hero, myths of violent death of the hero, and sacrifice and sacrifice in the sense that at the end of the harvest you can see. So what you find is myths of fall. Best example is Satan, fall of Satan, that is the creation myth, in according to us, as accepted by the Christian world, you can see fall of Satan. And then you find the fall of Kauravas, this tragedy is for Kauravas. And personally speaking, then you can say individual. If you take an individual's fall, you will find Duryodhana. So finally, he stands, and then he says, what is the use of all this? I lost everybody. I lost my gurus, I lost my brothers, I lost my cousins, I lost all my friends. So what is the use? Isolation of the hero, Macbeth, and then nobody is with him. Isolation of the hero, violent death of the hero, isn't it? Violent death of Lady Macbeth, and multitudinous season can Othello, the cry, the great cry, saying of he is repenting, but what of that? He is all alone and he dies. King Lear, the same thing, violent death, and you find isolation, also you find a fall of the hero. Claudius, of course, he is a villain of subordinate character, he is a villain. Except for Hamlet. Hamlet is a tragedy. Whose tragedy it is? That's the problem. Is it Hamlet's tragedy or the tragedy of Claudius? Because toward the end of the tragedy, Hamlet says to his friend Horatio, he says, if thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity of wine, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. That is So that, and then he dies. It is the fall, you cannot say the fall, it is actually death. Yes. Hamlet, you cannot say it is a fall. Because Hamlet, in no way can we say he is a tragic hero, isn't it? Can we say like that? I don't know. There the fall is that of Claudius, not, and also you can see Gertrude. Claudius and Gertrude, that is theirs we can say the fall, but not Hamlet's. If you have got any dispute about this, this is not what we are trying to learn today or discuss today. Our problem here is to see, our issue here is to see the violent death of the hero, fall of the hero, myths of fall, like Oedipus, for example, you can say Oedipus. That's fall of the hero, violent death of the hero, you can see Oedipus. I find the wasteland there is no. In a way, you can see the typist and small land agent's clerk. So that's a kind. That is also a fall, you can say, a tragedy. No, isn't it? It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy of an emotional fall. There is absolutely no emotion. So you can also call that it is a kind of a violent death. Death means violent death of emotion, and also isolation. This is complete isolation. So you find like this. Also the hyacinth girl, if you take, that again is it is a fall, isn't it? When he came back from the the meaning is this: when we came back late from the hyacinth garden, see, and there was silence, he could not speak, I could not speak, and all those things. That is again tragedy, you can say. So isolation of the hero, best example is that is Othello, and also Macbeth. Isolation of the hero, that kind of stories you can see. And you can see the Siren, the traitor in this. Claudius is the traitor in Hamlet. Iago is the traitor in Othello. So there are subordinate characters also. Hero, fall of the hero, then there are subordinate characters also. And then you find the Sirens, see, that is in La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, you will find that. Now that lady without mercy, the beautiful lady without mercy, and that is a kind of siren, attracting her, attracting the hero, the knight at arms, and then throwing him on the hillside, where it's a winter season, no birds sing, the sun just be there from the lake. The same thing that happened to him, to the knight at arms also. So, elegy. In elegy, what happens? You can see untimely death of, say, untimely death. It's not a death that we expect. Same in Lycidas, same in Adonis, that is Keats' death, that Shelley laments. Also, you will find the scholar gypsy in Mathew or not scholar gypsy. So, in these places, what is? Hope they brought her warrior dead. That is another fall. Another fall, tragedy. So you can see this kind of autumn. The season is autumn. The time is sunset. The time of the day is sunset. Season is autumn. So everything coming to a close, isn't it? And then sunset, autumn, death phase. So this is linked to tragedy and elegy. Then you find that it is again linked to myths of fall and myths of tragic death and violent death and isolation of the hero. So you see, this pattern is repeated. That's the point. You will find in almost all the tragedies, except as I told you, I mentioned about Hamlet. Otherwise, this pattern is repeated. So take any example for that, any tragedy for that matter. Even you can argue, Hamlet's case also you can argue like that. So it is very clear. See, autumn season, when you see the elegy written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray, what is the mood of the poem? The mood of the poem is sunset, autumn, and death. Isn't it? Sunset, autumn, and death. That's the thing. So, says these things are linked, are connected. There's a kind of link between this organic cycle of the day, that is sunset, then seasonal cycle of the year, that is autumn here, and solar cycle of the day, sunset, Then next one is the seasonal cycle, and the third one is organic cycle of the human being, that is death phase. Understand? So here you can understand. You can from what we have. I think all of you must have read this Hamlet, Macbeth, and King Lear, and Othello, and so on. These great tragedies. Also, you know about La Belle Sancy. You must have studied that poem in your undergraduate classes, and elegies also. No? Elegy. So, mourning the death of a friend. So, mourning the death of a shepherd. So that is again autumn, death phase. So, it's a kind of what the poet is, the subject matter of elegy is death phase. Even in the general sympathy expressed in the Stockbridge's churchyard, that is the elegy written in the country churchyard, you will find that is death phase. See that? So, in other words, what happened? There is far from the madding crowds, ignobles, let their life. There may be Cromwells, there may be Miltons, and so on. He says, but what of the use? Can story bring life back? No, you cannot. So it is that phase. It is autumn. See? Sunset, autumn, death phase. And it is linked to this kind of myths. Tragic death, you can say. Tragic death of these heroes, I think it is clear to you now. So now we have seen 3 sections where archetypes have been systematized. First one we saw dawn, spring, birth phase, and also the kinds of literature we have romance, dithyramb, rhapsody, and myths of revival and resurrection. Second one we saw zenith, that is the noon, summer, and the marriage phase, entry into paradise. The connected kinds of literature were genre, comedy, pastoral, and ideal. And the third one we saw this. You saw again, at the end of the harvest, autumn season, then there's the harvest season. At the end of the harvest, what do you do? Gods die. Gods die means you throw Attis, Adonis, Osiris into the Nile river. For what? For something. And another great example is that of the Messiah myth, where Jesus dies. And you have got the traitor Judas. This is universal traitor. And even it has become a phrase now. You are the Judas in my life. Besides, it has become a phrase. I don't know, when you consider the life of Judas and the situation and things like that, whether Judas is a traitor or not, that is up to you to decide. But according to the myth, Messiah myth, I always say Messiah myth because that is the secular, when you approach, say, with a secular point of view, it is Messiah myth. But from a Christian theological point of view, that is, he is a savior. So this you must understand. For Christians, of course, it is not a myth, it is a matter of belief, and it is a matter of great importance that they consider that Jesus Christ is the savior and Judas is the traitor. No doubt about that. But from a secular point of view, not theological point of view, secular point of view, we can say the death phase, that is death of the tragic death of Jesus, the violent death of Jesus. Violent means not Jesus did not show any violence, but the situation, that is crucifying a person live with piercing nails on his palms and legs and hanging him across. That situation is violent. But the death of the person is violent or not, we do not know, because that is up to the mind of the person, how he receives it. And as far as we know, it must have been a calm death because it was a sacrifice. So that is also there. Death of a God and sacrifice for salvation. That is also a recurring myth in literature. You will find. See that. There's many people do this. Many stories of great men. They sacrifice their lives for the. See, for example, President Lincoln. You can say it's a tragic death, but it's a sacrifice. See, so you cannot say. You can say that this is repeated. This is recurring. You will find. That's the point here. Archetypes means recurring themes in literature, and this is connected with the cycles in nature, cycles of the day, cycles of the season of the year, cycles of the life of human beings, and then you will find different forms of literature, and the basis is recurring myths like the myths of death, myths of violent death, myths of isolation of the hero, myths of sacrifice of the hero, then myths of we can see the hero being betrayed, and as we have seen in the Messiah myth, and also that poem that is labeled Dames and Smiths. I think the general idea now you are getting. Section 1, Section 2 and Section 3. Now you can see Seren's, very famous, in fact it is a notorious, but we can say it is known to everybody, Iago, Judas, yes, it's critical, Claudius. Macbeth himself a traitor, you can say, isn't it? Traitor as well as the crime, the person who actually committed the crime, that is murdering Duncan. So these things, they recur in tragedy. But on their spring, romance. Noon, marriage, and marriage myths. And then we have got sunset, death. We hope that after the sunset, the sun will rise again, isn't it? The sun rises in the east. See, that is a very famous general statement. Okay, with this optimistic note, we come to the end of our class today, our discussion today. We have just probably 2 more classes, and that will be the end of this section, Archetypes of Literature by Northrop Frye. So till we meet again, bye, have a nice time, enjoy your life. Okay.